All right, here with Ty Dillon, we're at Daytona Media Day. Ty, in daily fantasy sports, we score fantasy points from fastest laps and place differential. New players, just kind of explain, like, are these stats important to you when you're on the track?
Yeah, definitely. I think just starting with the fastest lap, obviously, week in and week out, we want to be the fastest car. I think there's opportunities at different tracks where the fastest lap comes in a different situation, like a super speedway. Guys in the back of the draft get a little bit different fast lap. So here, the absolute fast lap doesn't totally determine who's going to be the best car. But when we get to more tracks throughout the middle of the season, that fast lap means a lot to where you're going to end up at the end of the day if you can stay out of trouble. Place differential is massive. Anytime you're improving, that's massive for us because when the fantasy players are getting points, so are we. Every time we pass somebody, we're getting a point for our own championship. So I think that overlays so strongly we're both getting points throughout the day, and we both want to have the most points at the end of the day. So I think that correlation is strong, and then obviously, your finishing points, where we can end up at the end of the day is a strong cursor that leads us down the year to having a strong year. So if you end up being somebody who week in and week out picks the champion, you're going to have a better shot at winning, even in your your lineup.
So, new player, just maybe starting out in fantasy NASCAR. You have a little bit of fantasy background. You play fantasy football and stuff. Explain to a new player what place differential is. Maybe they've never played before.
Yeah, for the new players who don't really know what place differential is so this weekend I qualified 34th for the Daytona 500, and this is a little bit unique because we have the duels, but throughout the duels, if I can make myself from 17th to a top 5 starting place, that'll kind of change the way that the points differential will work for the Daytona 500 for me. Guys who start at the back, if they can get inside the top 10 and finish inside that position, they're going to gain, if you start 34th and you finish 10th, you're going to gain 24 points I think it's 5 point, I don't know the exact scoring, but you're going to gain on those points. So if you can find a driver, which this is the toughest sport in the world, toughest auto sport, a driver who can come from the back and get a good finish, it's easier said than done, and easier to predict too than done. But if you can be that person, you're gonna have a strong day.
Let's get away from NASCAR for a second. You like football, you like baseball. What really got you into maybe tampering in some fantasy sports for those sports?
Yeah, I love the statistical side of it. I think that deep dives into kind of predictions of players' performance. I think it kind of started from playing the sport, then kind of playing video games that gave me a little taste of statistics and the way I could create my own. And then I started my first fantasy league with my family, and I really loved that. And then as I just got more and more into it, there's just more depth that you can keep going. And there's actual ways to become a better player. It's not like you're just throwing dice out there and hoping for a number.
Right.
You can actually improve your ability to do well in fantasy, and I think that's what was intriguing for me.
Yeah, well, it's a skill game at the end of the day. We're putting money on it, or playing with family, and at the end of the day, you want to be the most skillful person. So, before I let you get out of here, just give me your background getting into racing. I know your grandfather you were always around the racetrack. Just what made you finally, I know, from our talks in the past that you decided a little bit later than most. What made you really want to get into racing?
I think when I was 12 or 13, I thought I was going to be the middle linebacker for the Panthers my whole life, but kind of fizzled out when I was still about 5'6", and when it came to high school football or JV football, and I was like, I need to find something that I think I can last size-wise a little bit longer in, and the family sport of racing was there, and I was 13, and first time I called my grandfather. I was like, hey, I don't know where we want to start, but I want to see if what's in our family's blood is in mine. And took that first test. It was a Bandolero car at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it clicked, and the love for racing was there. And at that point, pretty much dropped all sports, kind of fizzled them off pretty quick, all other sports, and really chased racing with my whole life. From the time I was 13 till now I'm 26, I raced 70 to 100 races a year, getting as much experience as I could in every single level. Now that I'm 26, in my third year in Cup, I can look back and I'm like, as the dust is settling a little bit, wow, what happened? Because it was just so fast and so much, and it's been quite the journey. And proud to be where I am right now.
I don't think a lot of people understand, the journey to Cup. Like in baseball, we get AA, AAA. You guys are starting in the ARCA series, and then you're going up to Xfinity and trucks. It's tough, right? Like it's not an easy process to get to this series.
Yeah, and I think for me, I was super successful in the ARCA series and in the truck series, and moved right through those series very quickly. I won in my first year in Xfinity, and things were just moving really fast for me. And then in my first couple years in Cup, it's just like you're in the top of the best drivers here. When the quick success isn't there, it's easy to get yourself down sometimes, and learning how to deal with a longer season than any season you've been through. You start in February, you end in November, and deal with those ups and downs. We've had some highlight moments and we've had some down moments, but I think processing this over the last 2 years and learning how much it really takes from every aspect of your life to be a successful driver is something that you learn, but you have to learn it at the very top level.
And it's been fun. Always fun chatting with you. Daytona 500 right around the corner. Wish you the best. Wish you the best this season with the new package, and looking forward to seeing you on track.
All right, thanks guys.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist.